Hey guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are doing the end of the year book tag. I always get so confused when I see this in my subscription box or on my home screen because this video, like, people do it in like August, September, October, like those range of months, and I always forget that it is a tag about what you're going to read at the end of the year rather than like a yearly wrap-up tag, and it confuses me every year. I'm like, what's going on? And then I remember. So it is time for me to do this tag. Oh, that was real squeaky. If you guys like what you have seen so far and you want to see more, do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here. You guys can also check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page in Chapter, where you can get behind the scenes content and see what I'm reading as I'm reading it. And now that the spiel is done, let's get into the questions. The first question is, are there books you started this year that you need to finish? I don't think so. I'm not someone who really starts books, stops, and then goes back to them. I either force myself to finish a book that I dislike, which I'm trying to work on, or I will completely DNF it. And these past couple weeks I've been really trying to get better at actually DNFing a book if I don't like it. So I don't think there are any books that I need to finish. A book that I have recently started and not finished is City of Brass. I didn't really enjoy this book. I got about halfway through it and it kind of put me into a reading slump. So I didn't make the decision to DNF it. I kind of just picked up other books to help me with my slump and have not gone back. But I think I probably will be DNFing it. But of any of the books this year that I've DNF'd, this one is the one that I'm most likely to go back and finish because I know how beloved this series is. And I'm really surprised at myself for not enjoying it. Next we have, do you have an autumnal book to transition to the end of the year? Now, all of my autumnal books are on my October/Magical Hopathon TBR, which you guys can go and check out if you are interested. So because I'm filming this a little late, I'm gonna talk about books for after spooky season when we get more into November and December, so like winter transitional books, and I have a couple. So the first book that I have been saving for winter is A Winter's Promise, of course. I am very aware that this involves starting a new trilogy, but I'm hoping if it's good I can just binge read them because they are all out. And this is a French fantasy, I believe, that has recently been translated and I've seen it get a lot of hype. I've seen a lot of people really enjoying this series. All of the books look absolutely stunning together. They make a really nice set because it's called A Winter's Promise and it just feels very cozy and wintry. I'm holding out to read this one for post-spooky season because then I'm going to want to get cozy. And very much with the same exact logic, I also have Northern Lights by Pullman. I got a set of these like beautiful hardbacks for my 21st birthday and I knew there was a reason that I didn't watch the TV show. I knew there was a reason, and it was because I must have known I would obtain the books at some point. So I have absolutely no idea what happens in this series. I would appreciate no spoilers or hints or anything like that. I want to go into this series blind. But it's called Northern Lights. It's very wintry. I believe there's a polar bear involved in this series, so again, this feels like a really good winter transitional book as it starts to get colder. You start to see Christmas adverts on TV. I can like really picture myself binge reading this series from November into December when we start thinking about getting Christmas trees and stuff. So this is going to be a great transitional. And then an even earlier transitional that is not quite so cozy but is still going to be a good post-spooky season book. I have Fury Born by Legrand. This book is just absolutely stunning. It is honestly one of my favourite covers that I own. This is a high fantasy royal storyline that follows two women in different points in time and how even though they're born 100 years apart, their storylines still intertwine and they still find ways to work together. And to me, November is a bit of a weird month reading wise. It's a bit too early to start reading cozy Christmas books, so like I can pull some of my spooky books from October into November, but I just think that this will be a good November November book. It feels like it might be on the darker side. So this will technically be my transitional book, but the other books as well are before we get to like the real Christmas romances. We've got some cozy fantasies. Then we have Is There a New Release You Are Still Waiting For? I did post a whole video on my anticipated releases for the last half of the year, so if you want to see anything in depth, do please feel free to go and check that out. There is one anticipated release that comes to mind when I saw this question, would be Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong, and I have not read These Violent Delights. I really want to, but I feel like at this point I should just wait until both books are out, buy the same editions of them, binge read them. There's a series, it'll be on my TBR, I can read it straight away and get it straight off my TBR, and I think that will be the best way of doing it. From some of the comments that I got on that video when I said that I was waiting until the second book came out to read the first one, from some of those comments I think the first one may have ended on a cliffhanger, because a lot of people were saying that it was a good idea for me to wait until I had access to the second one. I really want to read this series. It is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in Shanghai, high fantasy, enemies to lovers, and Chloe Gong is just incredible. I follow her on TikTok and she's so funny. I really want to read this series and I'm so hyped for this book. Then we have what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year. I honestly would like to read a lot of the books that are already on my October TBR. So Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier is a book that I would really like to get finished by the end of the year. It can count towards my classics quota. It's a big beefy book, but I've heard really good things about it. I would like to read the whole His Dark Materials trilogy by the end of the year. By the end of the year they will have been on my TBR for about 6 months, and I want to display them and I want to know what the hype is about, and then I want to go back and watch the TV show and complain about all the inaccuracies in the TV show. So I want to get this series off the list, and I want to read at least one more classic by the end of the year. I'm sure that one more classic is very doable and it doesn't really sound like a challenge, but for me sometimes it really is. So in the next 3 months I'd like to read at least one more classic off my shelves. I don't care which one it is. I'm gonna leave that up to my mood and whatever strikes my fancy, and maybe Instagram can help me pick a book that I will enjoy. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? No. I am pretty content with it being Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just think that the stories Taylor Jenkins Reid can weave and the hold that she has on my soul can't easily be displaced. I think the only way it would happen is if I decided to reread like The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think Malibu Rising very firmly has the top spot. I just don't think that there's another book like it, and if you can read a book that you love so much that you want to give more than 5 stars, and you know that there will never be another book that's similar or can really give you that same feeling, it's gonna be really hard to top that as the favourite, isn't it? I think maybe Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, the sequel to From Blood and Ash, could shoot its way up to one of the top spots. It definitely won't displace Malibu Rising. I think it could be somewhere high up on the list. But to answer the question, no, I'm deeming it now. Malibu Rising is gonna win. And then the final question is, have you started making reading plans for 2022 yet? No? Do people plan this far in advance? That stresses me out just thinking about it. However, from when I saw the questions to now filming, I feel like the only idea of a reading plan that I have for next year is to maybe try and at least have a classic on my TBR every single month, and I can like read one a month. But knowing how little I enjoy classics sometimes and how difficult they can be to read, maybe one a month on my TBR is a bit ambitious, so maybe we do one every other month. I don't know. I know that in 2022 I do want to make a dent. A lot of money went into this collection of crossbound classics, as you can imagine. I don't want them to just sit there forever gathering dust. I do want to read them as well as just have them there looking pretty. That's a vague plan for 2022. But no, I have not started making plans. I don't even really know what a reading plan would look like. I kind of just read whatever I buy or I'm in the mood for at the time. I don't know what plans look like when it comes to reading. And so there is my end of the year book tag. This is such a short, cute little tag that I always forget exists, but I enjoy doing it. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed. Do leave your answers to any of these questions down in the comments section and we can chat about it. I'd love to know what you're planning on reading towards the end of the year if you have any plans already. As I said at the beginning, do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button. There are videos every Wednesday and every Friday, so there's no shortage of bookish content here. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic week, you are enjoying everything you are reading, and there are absolutely no reading slumps in your future. I'm pushing the reading slump energy away from you right now, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.